I went through a phase where, obviously, in my darkest times, where I felt there was nothing good in my life. But actually, if we think about life and the day-to-day things we have, running water, electricity, the sun shining, a roof over our heads, food on the table, these are all things to be extremely grateful for. I'd like to share a few tips on how I managed to cope with my grief when my son Luca passed away. The first Christmas that we came to, I was not in the Christmas mood at all, and I love Christmas. But that Christmas wasn't going to be what I had expected it to be with my son. I bought a present for my husband from our son, and in some way kept him part of our Christmas, even though we weren't celebrating the event as such. I still had Christmas dinner with my family. However, when we all got together, we all cried because it wasn't the Christmas that we had anticipated, to be joyous with a 6-month-old in our arms. And it was cathartic for us to all cry together on Christmas Day, and it's fine. You know what? You shouldn't ever bottle up your feelings. Don't suppress them, because you're doing yourself damage by suppressing your feelings. So let them come out naturally over the festive period and any time of the year, whether it's anniversaries, birthdays, Mother's Days, Father's Days. Whether you want to do it in private or with somebody, that's entirely up to you. Often, as the years have gone by, I've sometimes gone off to the bathroom and had a cry and ran the tap so my son doesn't hear me crying. When he was particularly young, I didn't want him to know. But as he's got older, he sees me crying and he knows why I'm crying, and he'll often see me cry at the end of a sad movie or a moment in a movie where someone may have passed away and I'm crying. And he knows that sensitivity side of me, and that's good because he's learning compassion and empathy through me showing my emotions quite openly and freely in front of him. And other things that I've done over the years, I wrote a gratitude diary. I went through a phase where, obviously, in my darkest times, where I felt there was nothing good in my life. But actually, if we think about life and the day-to-day things we have, running water, electricity, the sun shining, a roof over our heads, food on the table, these are all things to be extremely grateful for, because actually these are the things that are helping us during our darkest times. Grief can be extremely tiring because you're managing a stream of emotions that take up energy in your body. This fatigue that you feel is absolutely normal. If you feel like taking a hot bath to ease those aching muscles that we can get during grief, go off and do that. Spray a pillow mist on your pillow before you go to sleep. It may help you fall asleep a little bit quicker. All these little acts of well-being for yourself and self-care is extremely important. I didn't realise any of this when I first lost Luca, but it was evident. It was there. If you're supporting somebody who's going through grief, what I would say is be helpful for the things that they might need doing but don't have the energy or the will to do it themselves. And those things could be, if they have young children, take their children out of the home, take them for a change of scenery, take them somewhere fun to give them a break. It might be doing the school run for them. It might be doing their grocery shopping, their ironing, especially again if they have children, they might have uniform that needs ironing. That needs to be done. Doing the wash, dishes, putting dishes away, cooking them a dish, making sure that they're eating. making something nourishing, because we underestimate how much nourishment we need in the times when we're suffering. We also need the right nourishment to help us sleep as well. So whether that's having a warm hot chocolate at night before you go to bed, a chamomile tea, a lavender balm, there's a huge variety of things that are out there for our well-being. But certainly starting the journal and appreciating the little things in life, which actually are big things, started helping me find my new normal. It started helping me find the beauty in life again. My world lost all colour at the time when Luca passed away, and to bring that colour back in, it took some time. Whilst the sun might be shining, it still felt quite dull to me. The days felt dull, they didn't feel warm, even though it was summertime. So our body will not react the same way to things that we've enjoyed in the past. Our minds will not either. And it's really important to be able to say no to people if well-wishers want to come over and see you. Sometimes that can be overwhelming. People thought they were supporting us would say things like it wasn't meant to be. That doesn't help in the moment when you've lost your child and you desperately wanted them, you desperately loved them, you're still clinging on to that feeling of holding them. If you're supporting somebody, please be mindful of your language. Let them know that you're okay with them being emotional, that you're there to support them in whatever that support looks like, that you're open to them talking to you or sitting in silence. Sometimes people that are going through grief feel like they can't laugh, but actually they find something funny. It's fine to laugh, it's actually good for you. It releases good endorphins. I felt guilty the first time I laughed after Luca passed away. And then over time I realised it's part of life. We have to do these things even though our life is so much different to what it was. But there's always going to be things that you find funny. There's going to be things you find emotional. And let your emotions go with what you feel in that moment. There's no right way of grieving. There's no wrong way of grieving. You do it your way. My mum said to my husband and I at the time, gave us some money and said, right, go off and this was after a couple of months, go off somewhere, have a change of scenery. And we'd always wanted to do a city break to Rome, and we did a break to Rome. And Luca being an Italian name, meaning the bringer of light, everywhere we went in Rome we saw Luca, and it was just like he was there with us, and it was comforting. You know, just seeing his name on the street. There was a street called St. Luca Square, I think, and various different things, but he was there with us. It was comforting. We had a change of scenery, we smiled, and eventually when we were blessed with our youngest son, and believe me, that pregnancy felt like 10 years because I was going through something that felt like deja vu. Their due dates were 6 days apart. I felt like I was reliving the last year, but now in a different way. There was no joy in the pregnancy, just anxiety of him getting here safely and alive. And I get asked this a lot by other women, when's the right time to have another child? There is no right time. It's what you feel you need. And whether you leave it a few months or a few years before you have another child, the anxiety you're going to feel during that pregnancy will be the same. It's a difficult road, it's a difficult journey, and there's no sugarcoating it. But also, the fathers are also going to go through these emotions. Whilst we go through the physical and carry the baby and deliver the baby and all the hormones and sickness and various things that we get during pregnancy, the fathers are just as worried. They're just as anxious as we are. But in your grief, what you can do to help you or those who you're supporting is mention the person that's gone. Don't let their existence be forgotten. Don't let society, which we have a big thing in society of expecting life, and yet there is no guarantee of life, is what I learnt in this journey. I would say that you need to just take your time and live life the way you want to. You will find your new normal. You'll find a new perspective on life like I did. I don't take anything for granted. If you're dealing with grief at the moment and don't know where to go or who to talk to, I do recommend that you talk to the Samaritan's Mind or Cruise. There's many charities out there that you can call for free and talk to somebody about your emotions and how you're feeling. And I do urge you to talk about how you're feeling, because not only is it better for your mental health and mindset, but also as you suppress those feelings, you're also making way for you to become poorly. So chronic illness is very prevalent around the world now, a lot more than it used to be, and that's come from traumas often not being dealt with. So the trauma you've gone through needs to be spoken about. So please do get help. Do not make yourself ill because you haven't gone to get help. It may not be illness now, but it could be illness in a few years. So please do look out for all these various places that you can find and call. Specifically for baby loss, I do recommend you look out for your local SANS group. Go on SANS online. You can talk to other bereaved parents on the SANS online service as well and talk about your shared feelings. Tommy's also are a charity you can go to, and there's also many smaller charities in the area that you live in, so just search for them and reach out to them, because these charities have set up to support you so that you can get all your feelings and emotions out and talk about it. So here at the Luca Foundation, we recognised that through my own lived experience that often we get sent flowers as a message of condolences from the workplace or from friends and family, those who want to express that they're thinking about you. I designed a unique teddy bear called the Endless Love Bear, which I did for the Luca Foundation. But actually, what we decided to do as a charity is form the Bereavement Shop, because our well-being hampers are not for baby loss alone. They're for all types of grief. The Bereavement Shop has been set up to give well-being hampers to those who are going through any form of grief. The well-being packages you can pick of what size you want. It could be a teddy bear and a pack of biscuits, or it could be a teddy bear with bath salts, with a pillow mist, with calming tea. It could be many things in that box. So take a look at the Bereavement Shop, and somebody who you know is grieving, whether it's now or it's been a past grief and they're still going through it, let them know that you're still thinking of them. It doesn't go to them with the Bereavement Shop all over it. No, it goes with a loving, kind box that's got a shape of an angel wing and half a heart. It just shows that you're thinking of them, and it'll be packed full of all these wonderful well-being gifts for them to help them through their journey of grief in whatever form that may be.